Good morning.
Good afternoon,
Good evening.
wherever you are.
I'm Ariel,
I'm Shia.
and clearly we finish each other's sentences.
From time to time.
Welcome to being here. Today's episode is celebrating
interdependence.
and we're already starting the show
Interdependently.
independently. I like it.
So, most people think that they need to be independent to prove their worth. They must be a strong, independent person. Was that good?
Yeah.
You like that?
I do.
Because I could.
It was non-gender.
Yeah, right.
It was just strong and independent.
Right. As if there's some failing in being supported by others.
And we've been including people in our lives, and it makes it so rich.
Initially, humanity was very interdependent. I mean, it's only been in the last couple hundred years that women have become independent in that they could have all kinds of jobs that didn't exist for them. And they didn't need to be in a family structure in order to survive in the culture that we live in now. There is all kinds of technological and non-technological jobs that are available for anybody.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be in a family to be supported and survive.
Hard to believe that it was only a few hundred years ago that a woman was not considered a full person. She couldn't own her own money. She couldn't vote in the United States. The only way to manage your life was
through marriage.
And in some places, it's still the case where women can only go out in public
if they're accompanied by a family member,
by a male family member.
Yeah. So that the desire to be independent exists. I have no problem with that, but it gets carried to extremes where you don't allow yourself to discover how much we need each other.
And you don't fully let yourself have pleasure. And I'm not only talking about physical intimacy. I'm talking.
Well, that would be a good thing to talk about, though.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
But I'm also including the pleasure of allowing yourself to be really supported, loved by the people around you.
How about vulnerable?
That's true, too.
If you're constantly on guard and trying to protect yourself, there's no well-being in that. That's you're like a mouse worrying about the cat getting you.
I can really see it on Living Made Easy seminars. We do them via Zoom. And in our culture, we have people have their cameras on and unmuted unless there's something like a barking dog in the background or children who are, making a lot of noise, so that we are actually in real time seeing each other, listening to each other. And there are times when particularly people who are new to us or new to the technology, you can see them coming with a barrier between themselves and the seminar. And of course, that is not a bad thing. It's natural. You want to make sure what you're getting into. But I've also seen it from people when they get upset, where you're like, fine, I need to sort this out
on my own.
Alone.
Well, that's always a sign of upset when you have to sort it out on your own, when you have to take yourself away and you'll come back and play when you get it back together. Anyway, hey, don't we have some guests here?
We do. Let's take our first one, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
All right. Miss Wendy, where are you zooming in from?
Hi, I'm Wendy from Elmhurst, New York, which is in Queens. It's a part of Queens.
Which is part of New York City.
Yes.
It was years before I realized that New York City included anything other than Manhattan. Like
Yeah, it
I
has
didn't
5
realize
boroughs.
I didn't yeah, the boroughs, what did that mean? I didn't realize Brooklyn was part of New York City. There was New York City, and then there was Brooklyn, there's New York City, and then there was Queens. It took me a while to realize it was a whole huge place, not just Manhattan.
When I first moved to Queens, my first time I lived in Queens, the train went above ground, and I thought, this is crazy, because in Manhattan, most of the trains are underground. And there's one.
When I was a kid, there were above ground trains, the Third Avenue L. There were, the elevator structures.
But then it got busy, so they stuck them underground.
They stuck them
under. I did not know that.
So welcome to being here.
Thank you. This topic is resonated with me, and I think I'm looking for a job, and in doing so, I have other friends that are looking for jobs, and we've been helping each other prepare for interviews and resumes and all the stuff that goes with looking for a job. And so it was with some friends and working on doing a mock interview, and prepared my stuff and I got some feedback that I don't present myself very, I'm not that confident when talking about myself. That was when I'm talking about a project, I had more passion, but when I'm talking about myself. So then a friend of mine also did a mock interview, and giving feedback. She did really well and presented really well. And I found myself comparing myself, but I also got really jealous and embarrassed. And I didn't think anything of it, but then I found was in transit after that meeting, and I was on a platform waiting for a train and missed the train. That's how involved in my phone. And I thought, okay, man, I am upset. I'm missing a train while I'm standing here.
The doors open and you still stay closed up. You're like, that was my train.
We did that once.
We've done that once. That was a long time ago.
In Switzerland.
That's something I really wanted.
We got in early to this little train station in a town called Andir, and there was nothing happening there. There was a little train on the tracks.
It was like a milk
it had milk bottles on it, and one passenger car. And we sat down. We had a cappuccino or an espressos they were at the time, and
it pulled out at 11:43, and that was our train. We're like, oh.
So we spent the night in Andir. It was wonderful, but we've been there.
Yeah.
And it's easy when you get upset to miss your train or miss your plane. But here's the thing. When you're ready to get a job, the job will be there. And you keep putting a pressure on yourself to find this job that hasn't found you yet. Now, I don't suggest that you sit in the woods and hope to get hit by a bus. But I'm saying that if you put yourself out there so people know you're looking for the type of job you're looking for, it'll come. Rather than stress yourself that it isn't here yet. And the other thing is this: comparing yourself to anybody else is a fool's errand. In that, there isn't no other one like you. You are amazing. You are awesome.
I actually got my very first truly off-Broadway play. I got off Broadway and off Broadway before that. So, off-Broadway is like a bigger deal. Broadway's an even bigger deal. So as an actress, with one of my worst auditions ever, I'd done a pre-audition. They called me back. They partnered me with somebody. She was just totally lost in space, and I could not get a rhythm going with her. My audition was abysmal. And they called me back and they said, you have the job because we want you. the idea that you have to be a certain way in order to get a job. Whilst on the one hand, of course, you want to present yourself well, but this pressure to, quote, present well.
Well, here's the thing. You can never present well to your mind. You always have afterthoughts like you should have done it differently or said it differently. I should have said more. I should have said less. I gave the wrong answer. In retrospect, I should have said, you get all the right answers afterwards.
Yeah.
I also don't.
This is an audio. So your nodding doesn't do it for the audio.
Okay, got it.
Just let me know.
Thank you.
You thought you got upset because the other person did well and you compared yourself unfavorably. I suspect you were already upset, and comparing yourself unfavorably opened the door to the room of upset.
Well, I'd say it a little differently. I'd say that you were already upset, and that's why you were comparing yourself to somebody else. Because you don't compare yourself to other people when you're not upset.
That's very true. Yeah.
When you're upset, then you're, in your own mind, less than.
Last year, Shy and I went fishing, and we fly fish. And in this particular trip, we were using a single-handed rod. So it's a different style of fly fishing than when we use the really long two-handed rod. And we went and we were hunting for a particular species of fish. We had some close encounters, but we were not successful. We did not catch one. And toward the end of the trip, our guide, who's actually, I really, really like him. He's one of my favorite fishing guides. He had been admiring the rod we were using the whole time. And I said, hey, would you like to try it? You want to, feel how this goes, and if you like it. So he picked it up, and he not only was casting it far better than I possibly could ever hope to, but for certainly on that trip. And I had been doing my best casting ever. I mean, he just rocked this thing.
That's what he does for a living. He's a fly fishing guide. So when he's not fly fishing guiding, he's fishing.
I also know that inadvertently or not, he was competing with me. He's a competitive kind of guy. But when I set that aside, I was like, oh, that's what I'm missing. He had a certain part of the cast with a certain amount of speed that it had never occurred to me to use. So instantaneously, my cast was far better. So I could either indulge in getting upset, oh, he did so much better than me. And, now my rod is ruined forever. I can't touch it because maybe I should just give it to him because clearly I will always be substandard. I could go into that compartment. That audio tape is on, it's like part of my resume and part of my playlist that I don't use anymore. And I clicked on wow, look at that. And from the moment I picked my rod back up, I was far better at that cast.
Wow. Okay.
But if she compared herself to him, he would be so superior in so many ways.
And it would sour my relationship with him. Because, look how he made me feel.
Yeah, I did have the whole, this has been done to me.
That's a basic premise. You got let go from your job when they eliminated your department. It's been done to you since the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, party on, dudette.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, you're right. I am blaming it on that, but I was surprised at how
Well, wait a second.
distraught I got.
Yeah, you're blaming it on that. Which is that you're blaming it on? And what is
The jealousy, and then realizing that I missed the train and seeing, but I was pretty upset, but I guess I don't, is it just always there, or did I go down some avenue that I didn't?
Well, we can't answer that question.
Is it always there, or did you go down some avenue?
You could answer that question because you were there in the event.
I mean, I think it's probably both.
If you aren't held as responsible for your answer, okay, you can just, any answer is good, whatever you come up with.
Well, I think I've been comparing myself. I think I have this idea that as I'm preparing for jobs, that it's a lot of what you're not.
Okay, now
what you should be.
You dropped in preparing for a job, but I'm hearing that you hold yourself as not quite that good.
Yeah, yes.
Very good. Well, I got news for you. You are not quite that good. You're a hell of a lot better.
See, no amount of success is going to make you feel secure.
That's the killer. See, because you can never do it well enough for that thought process that lives you.
We have lots of listeners. I am positive that all of our listeners have not met you. Some of them have. Let me just say this about Wendy. She
is gorgeous.
If you saw our 2024 calendar, she designed it. If you haven't met her before, let me just say something else about her. She's
getting pinker by the moment.
She designed a logo for a firm, and it was shown on one of those jumbotron screens in Times Square. I mean, I'm really sorry that you suck so much.
Yeah. No,
See, you forget all your wins, especially when you get upset.
Yeah.
Then you never won. But my dear, your job title, if I'm not too badly mistaken, was creative director.
Yes.
Well, they don't give inept people jobs as creative directors, do they?
No, they don't.
Especially big companies that you've worked for.
I admire that you're looking to improve the way you present yourself, for instance, that you are learning and growing. But there's a difference between change and transformation. One is having a passion for learning and growing, and the other is to learn and grow in order to get better someday.
To improve yourself. Yes. As if you're somehow deficient in the current moment. Now, I'm watching you on video, and when I said you were gorgeous, I meant it. See?
And it queued up all of the yeah buts that you have in your head. And if Shai were to say that to any of you who are listening, you would have your, whatever.
I may be okay, but not gorgeous.
It's funny you say that, because recently on a Monday night or a call with you all, somebody said that when their boyfriend tells them they're beautiful, they rebut, or they have that automatic, yeah, but. And you said, Shia, you said all it takes is listening to change it, to not change it, but transform it. To all it takes is listening. And it blew my mind to think it's that simple.
Well, look, when you truly listen, you let what's being said come into you. You don't have an internal conversation whether you agree or disagree with what's being said. That's not listening. That's thinking about what's being said to see if you agree. But if you're truly listening, that person is 100% accurate in their point of view. They can't be wrong about their point of view. If I say you're gorgeous,
that's his point of view.
That's my point of view. The other thing is this. See, when I saw you show up on this video screen, because we're doing this via Zoom, I saw the way you were dressed. I saw your hair. I saw your glasses. I saw the way you present yourself. And I thought you had already gotten a job because you looked like very professional.
And accomplished and confident.
And competent, all of that. But you see, I don't live in your thought process. And you believe your thought process is you. So when it says I'm not enough, I can't present myself as cool as she did. Well, that's just a voice. And if you believe it, you can't. But my dear, you are absolutely eminently capable of being an incredible creative director or whatever else you put your mind to. See, anything you want to do that you go for like it's your idea, you're good at. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a fact. But if you listen to that internal conversation, it's always telling you you're not enough.
It's true.
Or you're too much.
That's also true, yes.
Yeah, no. I figured I'd use the two that I could easily see.
Part of our brand is the photos I take. So anybody who's tuned in to this podcast knows that there's an image associated with every podcast. And they're all pictures that I've taken over time. And sometimes I'll look at something and I'll think, wow, this is a really great photo. And then I go into the info about it. It was like, oh, I took that in 2001. Oh, that's from 2010. I did take an iPhone class online and my iPhone only for an entire year. And as you know, the cover to this year's calendar was an iPhone photo. And I'm like, wow, I'm finally getting there, my mind says. But if I take a look in the bottom drawer in my file cabinet, I won an award and was given a lens by a company because my photo was so great. And that was back in 1998, 99. And my photo went as part of an auction, and the president of the photography magazine, American Photography, bid on it and was so upset when he lost the bid. So I said, hey, it goes to charity. Let's give, we can print a second one. He wanted it for his own personal collection, but I'm only a marginal photographer
in her own
mind. I will always be marginal in my mind because it stores up a stack of records from when I couldn't even tie my shoes.
Exactly.
And so if I think I'm ever going to get over that.
See, you can't ever get over that, but you can leave it alone.
You can bypass it. You can
leave it alone.
You don't access it.
That's right. I could go through all my relationship failures if I wanted to. And there were many relationship failures because I wasn't very good at relationship until I found a relationship that worked for me. Same for you. Before you met Madhu, you were no stellar star at relationship.
That is really true. Yes.
Sure. So maybe.
Back then you were probably like, oh, I don't present myself well. How could I get a boyfriend?
I can't do relationships. Yeah, there's something wrong. Yes.
But you have the same conversation slightly shifted around work, around getting a job, about job interviews.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you some hints about job interviews. You ready?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Good. Uh, listen. Listen to what they ask of you and be honest. As to the best of your ability, answer whatever questions they have. But listen, don't go in prepared. You are already prepared. You've been working as an artist and an art director for what, 25 years at least?
Yeah. Yes.
So you're prepared.
The other thing is, if I'm XYZ company and you have an interview with me, you can go in and look and see what XYZ is up to and get yourself excited about the kind of projects that they do. Your excitement is contagious.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Your enthusiasm about what you do brings life to what you do.
And if it's not the job for you, you will not be able to say anything well enough. You won't. Haven't you seen that with people that you're back when you were dating, that you went out with somebody you were not compatible with? You were just kind of tripped over your tongue and maybe you were klutzy and, but when you were with Madhu, suddenly you could talk about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, yes.
Because he was interested in listening to you.
That is true.
And because you were gorgeous.
Yes.
In your own eyes, you filter everything through your likes, dislikes, and beliefs. And, Marilyn Monroe was thinner.
Thinner
than you are. And you
Yes.
think of it that way, don't you?
Yes. Yes.
See, your idols were the glamour idols that the general public in this country found as beautiful. And in comparison to those idols, most women are not anywhere near as beautiful. But that's if they compare themselves to someone else. Your well-being, your ability to get a job done, that's what people want. They'd much rather have you being as capable as you are managing their art department than someone else who has all kinds of neurotic predispositions. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I've been around enough to know that I've met art directors and they've got all their quirks and weirdnesses.
Yes, I have come in contact with some of them as well.
Yes, I thought you might be familiar with that.
The week before you first went out with Madhu,
you didn't know he existed.
Or if you knew or the week before you met him for the first time, because, I think you actually met him in one of our seminars and, so you knew of him. Yes. But your opinion about you and your ability to have a marriage that you're passionate about didn't exist back then because you hadn't experienced it. You can either talk to yourself about your self-perceived failings, or recognize you're not going to step into that job a moment before you do, and it is coming. So you can either torture yourself before or celebrate yourself before. Choose one.
Yeah.
You can also create yourself anew, not in opposition to who you were, but discover who you are in the moment you're in your interview. Not by judging who you are, but just noticing who you are. Notice how it feels to be you. Mm. Notice the difference you make for the people who are interviewing you. You do something really wild. Interview them.
Yeah.
To see if you want to work with them. So don't go as a beggar. Go as a valuable commodity in the marketplace because you are. You produce beautiful work, Wendy.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that to get you to feel good. I look at the calendar that you produced for us. And it is great. I mean, we got a calendar in the mail from the people who made this calendar. And it is absolutely ugly.
We're like, who's this? Really? Oh my God. Everything
yesterday,
about it.
I mean, it was
like, no.
The design that you put together.
I think I got the same calendar. So
it have a spiral ring top.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably did. Wasn't that a lovely calendar?
I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
That's right.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I do have one thing for you, though. I know you're doing some freelance.
Yes.
And I would go about your freelance and give yourself deadlines and get things done and go about it professionally. So I have a feeling.
Do you freelance like you're going to be a freelancer and you love it. See, rather than it's a placeholder for until you get that job you think you want.
Just assume you're going to be a freelance forever and this is your passion. And then you can take your passion wherever you go next.
And as a freelancer, I know there aren't certain benefits like health plans and things like that. But you can be a very successful freelancer and have all the money you need to pay for your health plan.
Yeah, I love that. I have been doing some more freelance and it's been fun. But I think you're right. I have been treating it like a placeholder rather than.
Yeah. Look, whatever you're up to, my dear, do it like it's your idea. Do it like you're going to do it forever and be really good at it because you are.
Because I've actually seen you've had some really cool ideas lately and then you seem to slow walk them because I think you're afraid you won't have enough to do if you knock them out like you would if you were in a high pressure job. So you can do it without high pressure, but
whatever you complete creates a vacuum for something else to fall into it.
Including a full-time job.
Thank you. This is great. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a strong, independent woman.
Anything.
That's true. This is, Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, it's time for the Listener Feedback Spotlight.
It's where we get to hear from people in this amazing listenership and transformation community talking about what's happening in their lives.
This is Dave. I'm in Winnipeg in Canada. The transformation community, the podcasts, every time I connect in is a point to connect in with myself, to calm, relax myself, and realize that I have the resources to step into my life and be successful.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel & Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
Our next Living Made Easy is on a Monday night and a Tuesday night.
February 5th and 6th.
And it's actually a themed evening on magical relationships.
Right. And the Tuesday, February 6th is translated into German for our friends in Europe who are German language speakers.
You know, what's really neat in that last segment with Wendy, aside from everything, she was talking about having come to one of the Living Made Easies recently and how you were talking with someone and they realized all it took was listening, and she was shocked that it was that simple. And I thought that was pretty awesome, Wendy, if you're still listening, that you hit both the themes of our next 2 weekend seminars in one sentence. We are doing the power of listening as a virtual seminar on March 2nd and 3rd. And then in April, we're going to Hamburg, Germany.
We're going to be doing the Simplicity Seminar, April 19th, 20th, and 21st.
And since it's a long ways and it's a great lead up to a weekend seminar, we're also offering the Freedom to Breathe as a one-day seminar on the Thursday, the 18th. That particular set of seminars that are in Hamburg will be bilingual, both English and German. And we already have people who are coming
from the States.
Yes, including our friends Holly and Eric. Shout out to you, Holly. I know that you've recently been so brave having surgeries, and you're aiming for April to come from New York, and we're to Hamburg, and
we're aiming
to have you there.
That you make it.
That's right. So shout out to you guys, and this celebrating interdependence. I got to tell a story about Holly.
Tell a story about Holly.
Eric told us, because you were still in the hospital, Holly, how you made him go and get your nurse to come back in the room. It was really late. It was like 3 a.m, something like that. She had checked your vitals because it was the night before surgery. And he said it couldn't even remember her name now. So he called her T. He just gave her an initial. And you said, go get tea. And he's like, honey, and you're like, no, go get tea. And he brought her back, said, she has something important to tell you. And you said, I just want you to know that you're part of Team Miracle. You're part of my Team Miracle. Thank you for being on part of Team Miracle. And I love being part of your miracle team. I think we're all part of each other's miracle teams. I'm celebrating all of our interdependence.
Look, transformation is amazing. And what's amazing about it is it's not win-lose. It's win-win. When you win in your life, I win in my life. For the most part, in the world we live in, it's a win-lose world, where if somebody gets a job and you don't, you lose, they win. Rather than if you didn't get that job, it was because you could get the one that's perfect for you coming down the road.
Well, the other thing is, I'm not surprised when Wendy was upset. Suddenly she wasn't feeling favorable toward the other person who did the mock interview.
But she wasn't feeling favorable towards herself.
And
either.
that blasts outward. But also, we're trained by this society that it's somebody else's fault, generally our parents.
For how come we don't feel good?
So if you really want to have a miracle team, you may as well just give up, let go of. Blaming
anyone or anything for how you feel.
Particularly your parents. Mm-hmm. And then that can extend to yourself as well.
Well, it depends. You could send to your girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yeah, but if
your
I'm
husband, your wife.
That's right. If I'm being unkind to myself, you are sure to follow.
That's right.
Let's take our next guest, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
Hey, Leah.
Hi, Leah.
Welcome.
Hi, this is Leah in South Orange, New Jersey. Wow, what a pleasure it has been listening to this show. Everything you said to Wendy really resonated to me. I'm also happen to be looking for a new job. But I actually have a question when you were talking just now about win-lose and about the miracle team, which it's so inspiring. I have a question. It seems silly, but it's about my toddler's naps. My husband and I have a 2-year-old.
When you ask a question, I'll give you an answer.
Yeah, please.
Stop trying to get her to nap.
Okay.
See, you have an idea that she needs a nap. I'll tell you something. When she needs a nap, she falls asleep. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. And when she's engaged, she doesn't need a nap. Now, you may think she needs a nap because you've been told the right way to raise children.
Yeah.
But Leah, you raised yourself.
Yeah.
You know, if you look, your parents told you one thing, you did another thing.
I remember coming in to my parents' living room, and my nephew, who was quite young at the time, was laying on the couch, and he had a little blanket on him, and his feet were like twitching, and he was like, running in place while laying down. And he was just, I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, Grandma Jerry told me I'm tired, so I'm taking a nap. He was
anything but tired.
But Grandma Jerry was tired.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if this would work, but it's like, okay, it's rest time. Mommy needs a break.
See, if you lay down, she might.
Yeah.
And you could really use that break.
Yeah.
Do you ever give yourself one? Mm-hmm.
Probably not as often as I need it. Yeah. I feel like you answered the question.
You're an adult now. Adults don't need naps. So you shouldn't want a nap. Therefore, your daughter is trying to not need naps either. She wants to be like mommy.
Yeah, she does. Yep. Yeah. I feel like you answered the question that was underneath my question, which was also how I can support my mom, who is my husband and I's like other primary caretaker, and our nanny. The four of us are really like, the primary caretakers. And because I know that they struggle with getting her to nap too. And I think, if I chilled out about it, then.
But, look, it's this way. When my cat needs a nap, it takes a nap. It isn't that I tell it to take a nap like it should. Even if I did, it wouldn't. Well, neither will your kid.
Well, I recall lots of times when I took, quote, naps. And my ceiling, my parents had put this really cool thing on the ceiling. It was like a wallpaper that was a lattice that had buds and flowers on it. And then they cut out some of the flowers and hung them down the wall, just like little intrusions into the stucco wall. And I used to lay in bed and count how many buds were hanging down as opposed to I would just sit there and go around counting the buds, and then I get lost and I get confused and I'd start over. And sometimes I'd spend the entire, quote, nap time counting buds. And so it became, I believe, less that you need to take a nap and more, this is your time. You're going to be doing it here. And, what you do with it, you do with it. And just as a...
Well, I have another question.
What's your question?
Do you want her to take a nap because you need a break?
Well, it's sometimes, and sometimes it's because my mom needs a break, or because
yes, but she doesn't need a break, you see.
Meaning
your daughter is a bundle of.
She is. She has so much energy.
She just goes and goes and goes until she needs a nap, and then she goes and lies down right where she is and falls asleep.
Yeah.
I remember once being a babysitter.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not there all the time, so I don't know. But that's my sense of her. And she is a very independent little person, talking about interdependent.
Yeah.
I watched her when we were on calls, sitting there looking at pictures in a book.
Yeah.
For hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you don't need to worry so much about how she's going to turn out.
Okay, cool.
Her parents are incredible people. So she can't not be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. And thank you. We are. Yeah.
True.
The thing is, I know your mom has less energy to be a caregiver for a young child than she did when she was your age and had you.
Yeah.
However, I don't believe you need to be so concerned about her. She is a full-blown, complete person who raised another person, you, quite well. And I'm absolutely certain she is capable of
taking a nap when she needs one.
Yeah.
or just sitting there with your daughter in the background with a book while she has some quiet time herself. And you could just say, "This is our quiet time. We have quiet time now."
Yeah. I love that. And I'm seeing in this theme of interdependence how my own wanting to control everything can sometimes, in the guise of wanting to help her.
Yes, but wait a second. This need to control. See, you're a very intelligent person, and that's one of your problems. Intelligence, in that you have an idea of how parenting should look and what a child should do. Well, now she needs a nap. Well, where did you get that?
I mean, part of it also may be, she can get cranky if she doesn't have a nap.
Yes, but if she gets cranky, she'll nap. That's the point. See, if she gets tired and cranky, she's going to naturally want to take time out.
It's interesting. I know that you know this, but
and I don't mean not time out as punishment.
No, time out is in.
Yeah.
We have a subscription series called Living Made Easy on Demand, where people sign up for a year and they pay it either monthly or they pay it in a lump sum up front. And they get a video of us having a conversation with an individual or a couple every week in their inbox on a Sunday. A video comes out of us having a conversation with someone, and monthly there are special articles as well. I was watching one today that we just released that we filmed a year ago. So I didn't recall the content of the conversation. And we were talking with a gentleman named Dave who has 3 young kids who are significantly older than your daughter. And he was talking about managing them and about his self-expression with them when they don't do the things the way he would like and how much energy they have. It was a similar conversation, and what it boiled down to toward the end of the conversation was how much parents are pressured to be liked by their kids internally. Like, you want to be liked, you want to be a good mom, like the same way he wanted to be a good dad and he wants to be liked. So it's more challenging to put a parameter around them that they may rebel against at first. Ding, ding, ding. There goes my computer. It's agreeing with that. So that then what happens is they act out, you're miserable, and it becomes a lifestyle. And so if you actually need her to take a nap, I'm taking a whole other tactic in it, and you have a specific time frame, she will rebel when she rebels, and she won't like you at that moment. And can you withstand that, or do you have a pressure to have her not be upset? And I recall of friends of ours whose son would be like, "Oh, it's 8:00. I'm going to bed now." Like he put himself to bed every night. He was young. I was like, how did that happen? They're like, well, we just trained him. This is what happens at this time of night.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I can see that wanting to be liked is strong in there. Or maybe not strong. It's just in there.
Well, look, I met you when you were just like your daughter. You were older, but you were just as headstrong. and thought you knew everything.
Mm-hmm.
She may be 2.5, but she's headstrong and she thinks she knows everything.
Yeah, she does.
It's like seeing a mirror image of who you used to be when we first met.
Yeah. Yeah.
Becoming to yourself.
And then you'll have the solution moment to moment, day by day, where some
Just
days
by
it may be
looking.
the parameter needs to rule, and other days she may just need to be up, and other days it's about letting her get upset with you. You will know in the moment.
Another thing is that people want their kids to turn out right, but they don't allow them to turn out the way they are in the current moment. They think they ought to be different.
So the nap time question in that context is not just, does my daughter need a nap today? Do I need a break today? What's the appropriate way to intersect with it right now? It's about, will she turn out? How will she be when? What will so-and-so think of me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And I realize if we're talking that one of the many things that I love about transformation is that it's given me a ability that I didn't used to have, to trust myself moment to moment, and to be able to look and just know that I know what to do in any given situation. And lately I've been second guessing myself around this, and like you said, trying to be good mommy. And
you're second guessing yourself because the job you had disappeared.
Yeah.
And then it's not just a fact. It's like, what did I do? What did I not do?
What did I do wrong? How come? Even though you were relieved when it disappeared.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's funny how the mind readjusts things in retrospect, as though you didn't want what you have.
Yeah.
Hey,
It turns it into a failure rather than a success.
you were successful at getting out of that job, but you were.
Saya was successfully divorced back when. I'm so happily successfully got divorced, or we would not be together.
Yeah.
We would have never met. I would have stayed on the West Coast in a miserable marriage. What if it's all working out just right, dear?
Thank you.
And you are operating interdependently with your life and your life circumstances at this moment.
Mm.
So you have done nothing wrong. It's all perfect.
Oh, I have one other idea before we end.
What's that?
What if your daughter's tantrums around napping is saving you from something? What if it saves you from the unknown, from having to keep looking, from, what if she's, and that's for your mom as well. She's got a growing business of her own. So, man, if I could get lost in my granddaughter, then I don't have to, make that next piece of jewelry or go to that art store or,
Yeah. Yep. That's right on. Awesome. Thank you both so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Lovely being with you today.
You too.
Really. If you're not yet getting our newsletters, sign up. TransformationMadeEasy.com. Find the newsletter button, click it,
when
sign
Ariel
up.
says Transformation Made Easy, that's our website. Transformation Made Easy. The idea of having a magical life where everything works just right is so foreign to most people, and it's so difficult. Transformation is easy when you get here. So I suggest you join us for our next week's podcast, if you so choose.
The theme is listening
and love.
We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
Being here.